Judicial intrigues cloud supplementary polls today. Ganduje, Autumn Lanlong in do or die battle. What will happen to Autumn? Autumn, the man in Benue.
Autumn is the man in the eye of the storm at the moment. I believe that Autumn will scale through, maybe by the skin of his teeth, but he will scale through. That's what I think.
He will scale through. The headsman taught him some lessons, Kehinde Ayoola, right?
Very sad and terrible lessons. It was sad. I don't envy a governor who had to stand over the funeral, a mass funeral of his citizens. That's not my idea of being a governor. A governor is going to be happy when he's able to give people education, good hospitals. He is able to, supply infrastructure, and is able to lift the standard of life of the people in a demonstrable manner, not when you are sitting down there and collecting body bags. So that was a turning point for him, really. The moment that happened, I knew he would leave the APC, because the people of Benue placed the blame of that squarely at the doorstep of the APC government.
And you would have thought they would have voted for him overwhelmingly.
You mean Autumn?
Yeah.
Yes, because he was by their side during that period.
But they didn't give him that overwhelming victory he needed. Now we are going for supplementary poll.
Well, Autumn he arrayed his own forces. He was arrayed against forces that were far, far superior to him. He was contesting against the federal might. He was contesting with all these big people.
Akume and co.
Akume and the rest.
But he also has David Mark behind him.
And by David Mark is now
a diminished force.
Yes, a diminished force. Yes, I mean, when you talk of Akume, you're talking of people who are dining with the president and they had all the instruments of state.
Does that matter? I hear this instrument of state. What is it about?
You see it in places like Rivers. You know that you are a governor in Nigeria, but the armed forces, the police, the intelligence services don't answer to you, really. So when a governor is in Autumn's position, you can't envy him. He's governor, he has security vote, but what you really need is boot on the ground, which is not under his control.
Yeah.
Sometimes when I look at Rivers, I could remember what Wike used to do to Amechi under Jonathan. And now what Amechi does to Wike under Buhari, it's like one good turn deserves another.
It's a vicious cycle that we need to break, really.
Because Rivers is becoming something else. I wonder how people live there.
Yeah.
Every day they are killing
I have
people.
friends in Rivers who tell me that they are afraid to go out. That sometimes, one of them told me that he was about stepping out and he started hearing gunshots in the neighborhood. So he went back home. The day's work was
somebody was telling me that on the street of Port Harcourt, when they hear gun sound, they now begin to say, okay, this one is fake Kalashnikov. Okay, this one are the small boys.
Yes.
With the sound of the gun, you know the boys that are on the street.
Yes.
They have the arms. And you have government there.
This is sad. We have scenarios like that in Libya. We have scenarios like that in Syria. We have scenarios like that in what used to be war-torn Liberia, where children, by the time they are 12, 13, already know the different sounds of the guns. This is not the way to go, really.
No.
I have one more theory about what is going on in Rivers State. It is terrible when a government decides to face one individual, and in this case, Atiku. Because, of course, Intels is largely based out of Port Harcourt. So Rivers is bearing the brunt of this power play in high places. It ought not to be. It ought not to be allowed. This ought to stop immediately. For foreign election observers to unequivocally say we cannot vouch for any outcome of this particular space, then
robs it of its credibility.
It robs it of credibility.
All right, before we round off, you can join the conversation. Make it simple, straight to the point. 080-915-51055 and 080-569-98678. So those are the numbers to call. You can also call 070-694-93000. So say hello to the radio station. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Abdul Salam.
Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Tade Ipadeola and Mr. Ayoola.
Hello, make your point.
Yeah. On Seyi Makinde and all these national union. I think they said they have their own election and time to spend. The newly elected governor, Seyi Makinde, to tell anybody, any future member, that they should announce the tenure of this union executive to go to last before everybody who coming out. They are coming for to lose the garage. Also, the government elect should make it mandatory that all the parts in every local government should be sold by both that local government and the union. They should tell them because the union are not 6 hours old and they are collecting billions of naira every day. So this is push
all right, make it short. Make it short, okay?
So to put the revenue of our local government, they should control larger parts of the garages in their domain. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Abdul Salam. Join the conversation. Make it short, simple. Hit the nail on the head. It is Splash 105.5 FM, and the program is State Affairs. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Edmund.
Yes, good morning.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, please put on the next.
Right, make your point.
Yeah, I want to say if what is going on in River State is not controlled, there will be anarchy. And I think they should be there. They should be in a state of emergency. So that in future, in state will not be so. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let me read a stanza from Tade Ipadeola's book. And the ladies loved Paris, for he among men is fair and most handsome. Also, his aim is sure, whatever it be, bringing quarry home and ransom. I'm not a poet. I wonder why poets write this way.
Well, okay. The short answer to what you just read is, this is recounting the famous Iliad and the part that Paris played in that. Paris was the one that lured Helen of Troy and brought war to Troy. One of the things about us as Africans is that we have allowed ourselves to be studied, but we have refused to study the others in turn. It's a power thing. The more powerful tends to study the weaker, because to study requires time and resources. So what I try to do in that portion of the book is to look at what informs the thinking of the West when they deal with us. Yes, they're always taking, always extracting.
When poets write, I see prophecy, I see solution. But sometimes the people find it hard to extract the wordings of the poet.
Yes, indeed. Because literature is not simpler than astrophysics, for example. And we know that if you are to be very serious about what you are doing, you cannot use everyday language.
And you won a lot of money for using this language.
Yes.
That was that was in another lifetime. Another lifetime. You know what I did with the money? I built a library. So
I need to come to that library.
Yeah, you need to.
Yes, I need to come cover your library. Thank you for building a library.
Yes, because my late dad was a teacher, and he said to me, "This money is not your money. Make sure that other children have a chance to see the kind of things you saw when you were growing up." And I'm happy that my brother Kehinde JP is here. Oyo State used to have one of the best public library systems in Nigeria. I am not exaggerating. My school in Akimori, it's a village, really. From primary school to secondary school, we had state-of-the-art libraries. Back in those days, under Governor Bolaige, I mean, you could study German.
I read him all the time talk about Olivet, the beautiful Olivet.
My father was a teacher in Olivet.
Tell me about it.
His leader was our teacher, English language teacher at Olivet. And at Olivet, we had functional library, functional laboratories. Some of that we tried to reenact during the time of Lamadishina, because up to today, since 1999, only Lamadishina has built libraries in primary schools and laboratories as well in primary. I don't know the condition they are now.
I don't know the position we occupy in Shei's government, but I know you are Shei's man.
Yes, I am.
Are we going to reenact the old days?
We are going to reenact it. The period of Bolaige that my brother alluded to was the period that Shei also went to school. He attended one of those Bolaige schools at Bishop Phillips there, and he saw what obtained. And he's ready to reenact that by the grace of God.
I like the way you write. You read all the time, right?
I do. I read wide. I read a lot of things.
I know Tade reads.
And I'm trying to write a book too, which he will help me. In fact, 2 books.
Do you advise those that don't read?
I do advise. In fact, there are posts I put up where if I'm trying to put one up, I think tomorrow, trying to list for the young people that read me what I have read, the books I have read, and what I picked from each of those books. It's very important to read, Edmund. Absolutely important.
Absolutely important to read. I'm a reader. I read all the time. Kehinde Ayoola, thank you for featuring on
Thank you, Edmund, for having me. Thank you very much.
Tade Ipadeola, thank you for coming this morning.
Always a pleasure, Edmund.
Wow. Let's fella talk to us.